Hey everybody, it's Adrienne with Adrienne Berry Designs, and today I'm going to do a journal flip through and kind of review of a journal that I just recently completed. This is the Lamali, and this is the 6.5 wide by, it's about 9 inches tall. It's a smaller one, as you can see. It's not very big, but I have taken to doing some sketching and illustrations. I've been doing a couple challenges that I've seen on social media, following some other artists, and just kind of sketching my own stuff. So I thought I would do a flip through today of it, and then also talk about the journal. I have to say, this was not my favorite journal to work in. I got this as a Christmas present because I heard somebody else talk about it. And I was intrigued because of the handmade paper. So I actually got it as a Christmas present, and it took me a while to get into it, but I finally did. I did some different techniques in it. So now that it's done, I'm gonna do a flip through, and I'm gonna talk about it as I go through it. Let me know what you think. Have you used a Lamali? Do you like it? What's your experience with it? I have to say, honestly, for me, I would probably never use this type of journal again. It's just not for me. Any type of media that I used in it, it really didn't work for me. But I would love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below, and let's get into the review. Okay, so let's get into it. I was originally going to use this journal in March of this year to do a challenge, a monthly challenge, like with a bunch of different prompts, and it didn't happen. I ended up not doing it, and I had pasted the challenge card on the inside here, and since I wasn't doing that anymore, I decided to cover it up, and I didn't know how, so I just did a collage. I grabbed a bunch of random papers, a figure from a download that I had, and then I just wrote a quote on here. And even getting this glued in here really well, I mean, I had to put a ton of glue on here to really get it to stick. So that's what I did here. Like I said, just even doing that was a struggle. So I found that collage wasn't so great in here. And then because the paper seems to be like handmade, I'm not sure. To me, it seemed like it would do good with watercolor. So that's what I did here. You can see the blue. I did some watercolor, and then I wrote over top. I did a quote here from Bruce Lee about water to be like water, if you've ever heard that quote from him. I thought it would be fitting with what I did here, but the pen that I used did not come through well. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep playing in it, keep testing it, use some different materials. This here, I just did like a little sketch with some flowers, and I used pastels and the Neo Color 2. These are the water-soluble wax pastels. So I added some water here with the yellow. And that seems to do good, the watercolor. I didn't like the way the pastels came out. So there's that. Then over here, this is a mess. I had tried to do an inkjet transfer on here because I got some new materials to do inkjet transfers. And I thought, oh, it really might work here. It did not. As you can see, I mean, minus the person, it just didn't come out at all. So I felt like I'd ruined the page. I didn't know what to do. I tried to do another transfer here with a different material. It came out a little bit, but not great. So I thought, okay, image transfers are not going to work in this thing. Forget that. Then I did this little sketch of a person just to cover up and try to start practicing some other things. So just this page is just a wash. Then here again, I did watercolor because I felt like that was the only thing that really takes to this. And, like I said, I'm not an expert on Lamali. If you are, if you've used it a lot, please feel free to comment and say, yes, these are only for watercolor. But it did come out good here. Again, I tried a different pen with the writing, and this is the same quote that I had used on the front page here because I like the quote. So then, and I don't like how, like, I can't see where the page is split. Again, I did try image transfer again. And this was part of a tutorial that I have, a workshop over on Ko-fi. I'm not sure how you say it. But I did a tutorial over there about art journaling and working in different journals. And this is the spread that I did for that. Now, this transfer I just did with gel medium. And this is where you put gel medium down, you put an image down, and then you rub the paper away. And this seemed to work a little bit better. And then I just did some collage here and I wrote again. And I found that this is my favorite pen to write and doodle with. This is a Signo Uniball, and it's the 0.38. And so I found that that pen worked better. And then here we get into the sketching I started doing. I was trying to sketch people. So one of my cousins, she did some Easter pictures. And so I kind of just copied them off of Facebook. And I did the, this is the Pentel, like brush pen. So that's what I did with this here. And again, I used the Neo colors as filling in the color. Some of it I added water to, some of it I didn't. It's okay. You know, this pen tends to bleed through, as you can see. You know, you can see it bleed through, so that's probably not the best pen to use with this. Then these are some images that I did from my church. Again, I'm just trying to capture people. Again, I switched pens here, and I believe I started using, this is one of the Copic sketch pens. So I used that tip. Again, using the Neo colors. It's okay. It's just not my favorite. And again, this is me practicing drawing and illustrations just for my own self. So I don't know. I kept trying and trying. Here I didn't color in the Neo color pastels. This is somebody bending over a chair and praying. So just for like coloring in with those, it doesn't seem to do well. But again, I think this is definitely a watercolor journal. And I guess I could have looked that up before I even worked in it. This is me just practicing drawing again. And here I did the Neo color, but I did not add water to it. And I can actually maybe show you real quick. Let me grab, oops, I'm sorry for that. This is like just one of these, it's a Tombow, and it's a water brush. You add water in it, as you can see. They're really handy for on the go. So I believe I did my Neo color. Let's see. Yeah, see, you can see when you add water, it'll blend good for watercolor. But I think just leaving it like that, like it looks like a crayon, it's not that great. So I think it might definitely be like a watercolor journal. Here I was just trying some sketching again with a different pen. I did some watercolor again. This was just pastel. Like I was really rubbing it in to see how dark I could get the pastel to take to the paper. And I just don't think oil pastel and this paper works well together. And here now we come into the 30-day challenge that I did. This was with, I think her name is Marianne Illustrates. She's on Instagram and TikTok, and I can tag her down below. But she did a 30-day challenge because she does a lot of sketching and live sketching. And so I've been wanting to learn how to do that. So I did her challenge, and every day she just posted like a different object for you to practice. And this was like a, what are they called? Espresso martini. So I practiced here, and this is with oil pastel, and then this is the Neo colors. So this is the stark contrast you can see. I think if you add water to anything on here, that's what works with this journal. So again, I labeled the days down at the bottom. This was a pair of earrings, Neocolor pastels again. That's what most of all this is. And then just going in and doing the highlights with oil pastels. That's how I just decided to proceed. And by this time, I'm probably halfway through, if not more halfway through. And I thought, I'm just going to finish the 30-day challenge in this book. I don't like the book. By this point, I was like, I don't like this book. So I'm just going to finish out the challenge and be done with it and stick it on my bookshelf. This was a pair of Prada shoes for the next challenge. And again, this is oil pastel, and it seems if you really push hard, it comes out okay. Here I did more of the watercolor, and obviously I didn't know this happened. You can see the shoes. I guess when I had closed it, it did that over here. So I guess if you are going to do any type of water, you need to let it stay open and dry. And usually what I do is I have these clips that I got off Amazon, and I'll just do that, and I'll let it like sit open and dry overnight. I must not have let it dry long enough. Here again, just doing some more sketches. These were some shoes. This was a bathing suit. It seems like if you do the Neocolor or watercolor and then add pastel as highlight, it does okay. This again, I just did plain watercolor. I have this is the Meeden watercolor set, and this is what Marianne uses and recommends. So I had got this and I just did watercolor, and it, again, I think it's definitely good as a watercolor journal. So the challenge was to use, this was a shampoo bottle I did. So again, it's mostly objects. This was a Kleenex tissue box. This is all pastel work here. This was like a plate of olives, a purse. But again, see, look at this. Look at the blue came over here. So maybe oil pastel is not great for this journal either. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Then I did, one of the challenges was like a lobster dish, but look at how it's all over here on this other page of flip-flops. So again, if you have any tips for people who are trying a Lamali, put it in the comments below. I obviously might have done something wrong here. This was a cocktail drink. This was glasses. Then it was a birthday cake. This was some type of bottle of a drink. I was just copying her illustrations. This was a purse. This is really bad. It's supposed to be like, I guess, a living room with a chair, an armchair. Again, I'm practicing because I'm trying to get better at like doing three-dimensional drawing. This was tennis rackets and tennis balls, and on this prompt, she had actually showed you how to turn something like this into like your own pattern. So you could make pattern paper or like fabric or something like that. I didn't go that far. I just did the sketch. This is a pair of sandals. This was, her hand was holding a martini glass. My finger came out really horrible here. It's very disfigured. Then this day was drawing like some necklaces, some jewelry. Again, doing the oil pastel. Look how it's got over on this page. This is the first time I really flipped through myself, and I didn't know that it did this. So I would maybe caution against pastels if you're going to be doing it on both sides. This was a drink. This was a pair of earrings. This was all watercolor. So I really came to the conclusion with this book that it's good for watercolor. This was a pastel drawing. This was makeup. This was a croissant, like breakfast with some fruit. And this was the last day because she ended up being in Italy. So it was the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And at this point, I just didn't care anymore. I was so frustrated with it. And this was another person I did like praying just so I could close out the journal. And then here I was trying to practice doing a hand, which it looks like it's all disconfigured. So I just wanted to fill all the pages because I'm not a quitter and I like to have things completed. So that's where I ended up with this. And then I decided just to put 2026 on here, and I used a Posca paint pen, and just even trying to use that did not come out great. I didn't like how it bled. So I have to say, I'm happy I finished the challenge. I'm happy that I finished a journal and that I can put this one up on my shelf. Like I said in the intro, I would never use a Lamali again. I didn't like it. Maybe I used it for the wrong purpose. I'm not sure. I guess I need to look into that, but I probably won't because I don't like it. So that's my honest review of the Lamali Journal. And again, you know, like I said, I heard about somebody using this over on TikTok. And I think sometimes we can be easily influenced by people. I'm just going to close out this video with talking about that for a second here. I was influenced. I saw somebody else was using it and I was like, oh, I should try it. I don't like it. You know, I think sometimes we see people using other things and we're like, oh, you know, it must be great. You know, people are using these. I didn't like it. So that's part of, you know, buying things, trying them out. I am trying really hard for 2026 to not be influenced by other people and just go my own path. But like I said, I got it for Christmas 2025. So I used it, not a fan. Will never use it again. And now I'm going to go on to my next journal, which is trying to finish up this little 6x6 that I'm doing weekly work in. I kind of got off it, but I need to get back into it because I want to finish this one up. These are a lot of journals I have sitting around that I want to just finish the work in so I can be done and move on to other things. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have a Lamali? Have you used a Lamali? Do you like it? You know, let me know. Hey, you used that journal totally wrong. It is for this purpose. You know, I have no problem in being corrected. So yeah, that's my flip through for this, and this one is done. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for sticking around and watching. Bye.